Why do you understand strangers in movies better than the people sitting next to you at dinner? Think about that for a second. You've cried for fictional characters. You've felt rage on behalf of people who don't exist. You've understood deeply and completely. And yet, the person you've shared a bed with for 6 years still confuses you. Your mother still says one thing and means 3 others. Your best friend makes a decision you see coming from a mile away, and you say nothing, because you don't actually know how to say it. That's not a personal failure. That is the human condition. And it took me an embarrassingly long time to understand why. If I could start over, I would start with one single uncomfortable truth. People don't do things for the reasons they tell you. They don't even do things for the reasons they tell themselves. There is always something underneath. Always. The mistake most people make is treating psychology like a collection of facts to memorize. Here's a bias, here's a disorder, here's a theory. But that's like trying to understand music by reading the dictionary definition of rhythm. You can know all the words and still be completely deaf to the song. The first thing I would do is stop reading about people and start watching them. Not judging, not diagnosing, just watching. The way a person holds their coffee cup when they're nervous. The split second before someone laughs where their eyes either join in or don't. The way someone's posture changes the moment their boss walks into the room. The body speaks constantly. Most of us have simply never learned to listen. Here's where I would have saved myself years of confusion. Understanding why people feel things is only half the map. The other half is understanding how people survive their feelings. Because that is where personality lives. Not in what broke someone, in what they built to protect themselves from being broken again. The person who talks too much in meetings isn't arrogant. They're afraid of being invisible. The person who never asks for help isn't strong. They learned, somewhere, that needing things was dangerous. Every defense mechanism, every pattern, every habit that makes someone difficult to love is, at its core, a very old solution to a very old problem. And the moment you start seeing people that way, something shifts, permanently. You stop asking, why are they like this? And you start asking, what happened to them? Those are not the same question. One is a verdict, the other is a door. I would also spend serious time with attachment theory, not as an academic concept, but as a mirror. The work of John Bowlby and later Mary Ainsworth showed us something that should have changed everything about how we raise children and how we choose partners. That the first relationships we have, before we have language, before we have memory, they write the code. They become the operating system. And for the rest of our lives, we carry that code into every room we walk into, every relationship we attempt, every time we reach for someone and wonder why it keeps going wrong. Understanding your attachment style is not a parlor trick for dating apps. It is confronting the blueprint. And if I'm being completely honest, which this whole conversation demands, the most transformative thing I would do is read more psychology books and literature. More Dostoevsky, more Toni Morrison, more James Baldwin. Because the great writers understood something, that human beings are not problems to be solved, they are contradictions to be held. We are, every single one of us, capable of extraordinary love and breathtaking cruelty, sometimes in the same afternoon. And the goal of understanding psychology isn't to flatten that complexity, it's to stand inside it without flinching. So here's what I would tell the version of me who was starting over, sitting somewhere with a highlighter and a textbook, convinced that knowledge was the same thing as understanding. Put the book down. Go sit in a coffee shop and watch. Call your most complicated family member, and instead of defending yourself, just listen. Read a novel that makes you cry and ask yourself precisely why it made you cry. Find one person in your life who confuses you, and instead of judging them, get curious. Not to fix them, not to understand them so you can manage them better, but because they are a human being with an entire interior world that is just as loud and just as desperate as yours, and they have never once been fully seen. That is what psychology, at its most honest, teaches you. Not how to read people, how to see them. And the terrifying, beautiful thing? The moment you learn to really see other people, you lose the ability to hide from yourself.